all the questions in the survey form. Okay, I've recorded this our session for today, and if everyone is ready, we shall continue and begin our chapter 1, Introduction to Business Analytics. So let me enlarge this for you. How's everyone this morning? Everyone already have their breakfast? Already wake up?
Not yet breakfast, sir.
Not yet
Already,
breakfast?
sir.
I think if those who buka puasa sudah lah kan. 4:30 is now. 4:30 or 5. This is my breakfast.
Wow, very healthy, sir.
What healthy? No time. If only I have time. I malas bangun awal bah. Not to say malas lah. Yes, if you want to see the view, see, nobody. If you can see the parking at Block G, no one. Only me, the cat, the noisy bird on the roof, and the makcik cleaner lah. I think that's about it. No jam today. And here I am in UiTM di hatiku. Alright. Anyway, actually can do from home, but I have things to do in the campus. So life goes on.
Semangat, sir, semangat.
Semangat, asal gaji dibayar every month. Right? Gaji keluar senyum lah. Okay. So we have this first chapter. This first chapter is regarding Introduction to Business Analytics, the methods, the model, and the decision. So this is a new slide that is given by our resource person. Previously, we have a slide that has been used for the past few years already and passed down to me, and then a few of your seniors from 4 semesters. I'm here, so they're relying on the old slide. So this is a very new recent slide that we can refer to, and this is the book. So it's an e-book. The e-book, I have the old version of the e-book, but the new version, let's see if the RP give me later on. I'll try to ask her if this e-book is actually free. But anyway, according to her, referring to the slide is already enough, sufficient enough. Most of the understanding of the chapter itself is based on our practice of using the Excel and the other software and so on. Also for this subject, we have a choice. Either we want to follow the old assignment, or there is actually an assignment given by the RP, which is a new version. So it's either we use that one or we use the old one. I'll update you when we meet again after Raya. Okay, so let's begin this chapter 1 today. What we intend to learn throughout this morning, firstly is the introduction. I'll introduce you to what is business analytics and the evolution of business analytics. What does business analytics covers in our day-to-day life? What are the data that is being used for business analytics? Is it a primary data or is it a secondary data? Or is it the data collected from qualitative or quantitative? And then what are the models that is being used to figure out or to do analysis for a particular business? And the last one is how to do problem solving in analytics. Okay, so these are the 6 course content that is being used for today's chapter. What is business analytics? Business analytics is used for running, collecting, analyzing the data. Okay, the data is being gathered by you as the researcher. Okay, normally you want to find out uh, 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 something that is will be beneficial for your business operation or business sustainability. Um, However, there is no consensus. Consensus meaning that there are previous, there are already previous research being done on the particular subject matter. However, there is not enough evidence to support um, the findings. So another one is it might be the location or the respondent is different from where you are at. For example, if you are research officer for a business operation that is in a supermarket, right? So you have been tasked by your manager to find out what actually influence the sales. Okay, what actually influence the sales of a particular product. So what from my explanation for, if you remember from last class, there's an independent and a dependent variables. So what effect, what are the relationship, is the relationship significant or not, or there is no relationship at all, or is there a positive relationship, or is there a negative relationship. So these findings are important for business owners to actually have an idea in the future whether they want to use or to use certain decision in order for their business to be sustainable. So business is not only the way of thinking of doing business long time ago. Is just we produce the product from raw materials, we get a place, a good place, we try to market it, we try to make the product well known, and to make sure that the product is the quality and the quantity is good, and there is buyers and there's demand for your particular product, and in the end you receive profit, and that's the end goal, to earn profit. However, what are the other, there are many other things that could actually influence how do you get the profit. So you need research, you need to do research, and this is the modern way how business can sustain itself. Okay, of course we have a lot of other factors, but this is one of the important factors. That's why you see in most big multinational corporation, they have a research R&D department. Okay, they have a research officer that is being appointed and being tasked specifically to manage and to find out what actually um, help the growth or sustain the business operation. So they need to collect the data and they need to find out from the data and make analysis and to make projection, to make forecast what would actually happen, and what, and these results, these findings will help them to avoid all unnecessary uncertainties and risk. So business analytics, you might say that there's so many other things that is far more important, but without business analytics, without the research that is being made in the business could not have an overview what would happen, okay, and what is actually influence the certain direction of a sales or certain direction, or what is actually affecting the process that makes a business sustainable. So data is very important. That's why sometimes nowadays, right, just recently, if you follow the news, that KLIA was being hacked by hackers. Okay, hackers now in the digital age, you don't need to go and colek orang, you colek the data. You go and access the data. So these hackers go and access the data in KLIA. So what happened is all the flights were delayed for a moment, and they requested for 44 million ringgit in order for them to release back the data to KLIA. But I don't know what's the outcome. That is up to the authorities to deal with it. I think it's solved already, or I don't know if they pay them or not, or they caught the hackers or not, or they managed to override what the hacker did towards the data. So data, that's why data is very important. So that's why even in Sarawak itself, right, we have our recently there is a building, a building that is being built in Petrajaya. If you notice, if you go round Kuching, and then you go to the State Library area there, there's a very huge White House. They call it White House lah. So in Sarawak also, you don't need to go to Washington DC in United States of America. You just need to go to Kuching, go to Petrajaya, PJ ya, PJ, orang PJ. Siapa orang PJ sini? Adakah? Saya lah tu orang PJ. Okay, there is a huge White House there being built. So that is like a place where not Astana. Astana is for TYT. This one is for our premier lah. But that is also where they want to store the data. Wow. We also have a data hub. So data can be stored in a server, a large server, and it requires a large amount of energy to store the data. Data is not only stored in the cloud. Okay, cloud is not stored in the awan, Hafiz with. It's stored in the satellite lah, up there. So it's being stored up there, or you want to store it on Earth. Okay, you store it at a place. So all your data, your Facebook data, your TikTok data, all whatever data, YouTube, everything is in the cloud or in the satellite or in a kept in the server. So normally you have to pay a certain amount to require for you to store the data, and of course to run the storage and everything, you need a huge amount of energy, which is electricity. So that is how data is being stored, how data is being used. What's important about data and why is it so important? Because data in this day of age is one of the things that is very, very important for you to know what happened, what would happen, can you predict using historical data, meaning data from the past few years can actually predict what would happen in the distant future. So this business analytics is very, very important. That's why I would like to emphasize to you on the first day why we need to study this particular subject. Okay, you are studying research method, yes, but this business analytics and financial modeling will bring you out from that research mindset into how to apply and how are you going to apply in your day-to-day job, because this is more to using Excel, a very basic compared to by using software. Of course, you have a lot of statistical software that is being taught in research method, but of course, when you are in this class, business analytics and financial modeling, you are more focusing and we are emphasizing on finance perspective when using business analytics, statistics, and how do you analyze it using Excel. Because when you are working next time, sometimes you will using, if you are in the finance and accounts department, you will using certain software, accounting software, which most of us are not actually exposed to, but maybe during your internship later on, or during your when you work later on, you will be exposed to various other types of software. So this software is not taught in the university because this software are uh, um, they are actually tailor-made. Tailor-made, you know, when you go to tailor, right? You want a specific size, a specific type of shape and color and so forth, design. So when you go to tailor, you want something that fits you. So in the real world, statistical software like e-views and so forth is not applicable in a finance department setting. You can use it as well, but normally big multinational corporation, they have millions of ringgit, millions of dollars, right? So they will um, assign a vendor that can create system that will actually tailor-made that system. For example, like UITM, right? We have our U Future, and then Unimas have their own learning management system, which is called ELIP. So big multinational corporation, they will uh, employ vendors which can create system. So they will create this in order for them to specifically cater for that particular business. So back to types of software. So the software that's been taught here are for education base. Meanwhile, because some of your seniors says, oh, we are not learning this type of software because the software is being tailor-made. Otherwise, we have to pay millions of ringgit as well just to have that software that is being used for that one company and it's not being used by other company. So that's the reason when you go to your job next time, you will learn that particular software. All right. So by learning in the classroom setting, you are actually exposed to the basics of understanding what software is being used, how to implement those data and bring it in the software and run the analysis. Okay, so all of these things, including information technology, statistical analysis, quantitative methods, and mathematical computer-based models. So all of these are in the realm of business analytics, and you as the manager or you as the employee will gain improved insight about your business operation to make better and fact-based decision. Because if you just guess, okay, for example, okay, this Hari Raya festive season, okay, I want to sell kueh raya. So I believe or I think, in my opinion, when I sell kueh raya, there's a lot of demand for my kueh because it is Hari Raya festive season. But you did not do research, okay? You did not do research and the business suddenly fails. Okay, it might be okay. You might earn very huge profit in the end, but you go through the business or you went through the business without having a secure feeling, okay, a positive mind when you are actually going through the business. So this will help the managers or the business owners to have a thought that, okay, I'm confident enough to run this business during this festive season, selling cakes, because for the past 5 years, when I did the analysis, there is a significant connection between festive seasons and the number of sales. So when there is a festive seasons, there is a positive relationship, meaning that the cake, the sales of cake increase when there is a festive season. Okay, or if you find out for the past 5 years there is actually a decrease, then that will influence your decision whether to sell that kueh raya. So you may change your mindset. Okay, I maybe instead of selling kueh, I maybe sell drinks or I maybe sell clothing, hari raya clothing or whatnot. So from the dependent and independent variables and using mathematical and computer-based model will actually reduce time as well. So when you use Excel, rather than you use the calculator and then you calculate manually one by one, mathematical and computer-based model will help you to actually compress the time to actually give you a not a very specific answer, but at least you have a thought that, okay, once I have the answer, I'm confident enough not to do it or to pursue this business venture. So this is what business analytics is all about. All right. So moving on to the second slide. So what are the application of business analytics? First thing is setting prices for consumer, industrial goods, government's contract, and maintenance contract. So when you want to determine the price, okay, normally in accounts, we would, or in finance, right, we would identify, okay, what is the cost of the raw materials, and then what is the cost of the operating cost, operational cost, what are the things that I need to pay in order for the end of the goods to be produced. So after you calculate it, then you sell, right? You try to sell, and then from there you earn the profit, and then the profit you have to minus the 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 expenses that you use to actually produce the goods. But you need to also incorporate, okay, business analytics. Okay, one other thing is to find out the market landscape. Okay, for example, you want to sell the kueh raya tadi, you want to sell the raya cake, cake lapis, right? And then you want to set a certain price. So after you do research, you find out, okay, in Kuching area, this is the price of the particular cake. Okay, so you have to collect the data first. Okay, how do you collect the data? Is either you go to the ground. So when you go to the ground, that is called primary data because you collect it first with using, is either you is using questionnaire, you give the questionnaire, you disseminate the questionnaire to the respondents, do random sampling, or you use secondary data. You go to the internet and then the prices of cake lapis in Kuching, this is the price. So the data, so this Mita is selling this one, Taka is selling this price, 5 ringgit, Mita is selling 5 ringgit 50, okay, Southern is selling 4 ringgit something, okay, Clownback store is selling this, and this is this. So these are data that has been collected already and being gathered, and you can find it on paper or in the mass media or anything that is already published. So that is secondary data. Okay, so once you know the pricing, then you determine what price should you sell. Okay, that is business analytics in a way. And then secondly is customer segmentation. Okay, identifying and targeting key customer groups in retail, insurance, and credit card industry. Okay, you can segment your customer. Okay, whether you are focusing on certain type of customer or you want to actually expand on the location. Merchandising, determining brands to buy, quantities and allocation, and also location, right? So moving on, we have supply chain design, determining the best sourcing and transportation option, and finding the best delivery routes. Okay, staffing, ensuring appropriate staffing levels and capabilities and hiring the right people. In healthcare, scheduling operating rooms to improve utilization, improving patient flow, waiting times, and purchasing supplies in predicting health factors. So, when you are forming a hypothesis, right? So, we would say that for healthcare here, what would be the dependent and independent variables? So, in order for you to predict the, the the health risk factor. So health risk factor will depend on the purchasing supply, the waiting time, improving the patient flow, and also the operating room. So these other factors are the independent variable because uh, the waiting time will actually influence the health risk. Purchasing supplies will influence the health risk factor. Patient flow will influence the health risk factor, or it might not. So this is up to us to find out using business analytics. So what are the impacts of actually using business analytics? Okay, it will reduce cost. You will find out that, okay, once I have the findings from the research that has been made, the analysis has been made, you can make better decision. Okay, you can reduce cost, and of course, you can improve on the demand from your customer because why you have the the answer before even actually uh, doing the what you want intend to do. Okay, because based on previous data again, so emphasizing on data, historical data, which is past data that has been collected, analyzed, and what you find is the answer. So this answer will actually help you to understand why certain settings would be as it is. Okay, it will also have challenges. Okay, there is a lack of understanding of how to use analytics. Sometimes when we are doing analysis, we are only putting or we are only including uh, variables that are known to us. Okay, let's see, someone is messaging me. Okay. Okay, so the challenges, back to the challenges is now you might be including variables that are known to you only. And another thing is the data might be not enough. Okay, sometimes you are capable to run the data based on what is available. Okay, you have not enough time, you don't have enough manpower to do it, because of this lack of capabilities in order for you to get enough data to understand the problem. So that will uh, contribute to the challenges. Okay, so the second one of today's content is to know how did business analytics came, what is the history. Okay, so in analytics, the foundation is business intelligence, okay, information systems, statistics and operation, research, or management science. So in modern business analytics, this is one of the most famous thing, right? That's being mentioned now and then, yes, regarding data mining. Okay, in China, or not even in China, we can see that locally in even in Malaysia or in Sarawak. If you notice, there is a huge, big building, and this building is there is a lot of air conditioner um, being put at this building. And you might be wondering, is the person really hot? Is the what are they actually storing inside this building, right? So back to this data mining, in that building, sometimes people think that there is a swiftlet, sarang burung. Actually, um, there is a lot of CPU. You know, the computer CPU that is being put in that building, and some of them are huge CPU, and the purpose is to mine data. Bukan mine data, they try to uh, get data. Okay, so it requires huge amount of energy. So that's why you need a lot of aircon to actually reduce the heat that is being produced by that electrical appliance, which is the CPU just now. So data is very important, and people are willing to even pay a huge sum of money in order to get data, even in university level, right? Sometimes when lecturers they do research or they do consultation, so the government or corporation, for example, previously like Payment Network Malaysia, right? They require consultation from us from UiTM, so they require us to collect the data. So certain data is quite easy to get hold of, but some data is quite secretive. So sometimes you need um, certain help in order to get this data, and you need to pay a certain amount, for example, to employ a research assistant, or to get data, you need amount of cash to actually get those data. So in the corporate world, uh, that's why if you follow the recent arguments that is being made internationally by the US, right? Whereby they try to ban TikTok previously, lah, not during Trump administration, but during Biden. And they are claiming that TikTok is actually gathering data. So TikTok, they actually store a lot of data, which is your name, anything lah, from words that you are talking about. So from this data, okay, from this data, they will sell this data to maybe other business corporations such as, for example, Amazon or Lazada, Shopee, and they will, once, if you notice, sometime when you talk about something, right, and when you open your social media platform, for example, like Facebook or anything, it could be TikTok, Twitter, or something, or any other thing, even YouTube or any social media, you realize that, for example, if you are talking about Baju Raya, right, and then when you browse through your news feed, and suddenly Shopee or some online business platform is actually advertising Baju Raya to you, when you didn't even search for it, but were actually talking with another person, with your friends, but somehow your voice is being heard from your phone and being because your phone is connected to the internet, right? So these are the arguments lah, that is being made by the US prior to Trump administration, whereby they try to ban TikTok in the US because of this thing. Okay, there's no what we say as um, what's that word? Not secret. That's not secret lah. Um, it's, I forgot that word. but data is very important. So once platform like Shopee and Lazada, if people don't realize this, um, then they actually um, on the good side. I mean, in terms of their business operation, so they manage to sell whatever they want to sell. They manage to connect to the potential customers, and their business operation flourish. So this is all about data. Okay, the way you mine the data, the way you get the data is uh, there are various kinds of ways. Okay, and of course you, in order for you to understand what would be the the end product, or to know what would happen in the future, you will run a simulation and you will do risk analysis. So by doing this simulation, you will get to know what are the mistakes that could happen along the way. Okay, and by doing risk analysis, you can actually reduce, reduce certain costs and reduce any issues that will be created along the way by by doing the business. Okay, and then you have a decision support system whereby there is a management of process flow and a visualization whereby you there is a there is visual chart or a graph. For example, when you want to do forecasting, right? When you want to forecast what would happen in the future, you run the analysis, but it's in numbers, right? So I believe you've been through this. So it's only in numbers. So you compile it, and in order to you to make a comparative decision, comparative visual, you will do a chart. Okay, so this chart will um, shows what would be what would happen in the future. Will it be on an upward trend, or would it be on a downward trend? Okay, so from these trends, it is a visual kind of way to help someone who is not really interested in numbers, but could generally be understood by everyone. Okay, just by showing it visually, and it is much easier and much more interactive and much more um, easier to be understand by anyone in general. Okay, so that is the four things that now in modern business analytics it's being emphasized on. Firstly is data mining. Secondly is simulation and risk analysis. Third one is decision support system, and the final one is visualization. Okay, so a visual perspective of business analytics. So we have three. In business analytics, we have statistics, we have business intelligence, or we say information system, and modeling and optimization. So in all three will be having visualization and data mining, whereby in statistics you and modeling and optimization, you have to run a simulation of the risk. And from business intelligence and information system, and using modeling and optimization, you have the thought of what if, what were to happen, okay, by doing forecasting and so forth. So these are the commercial software, okay? Software as a service analytics, IBM is one of the largest company that if you are interested in a particular system or software or a ready-made software, they can actually give or create for you, of course with a large sum of fee to be paid. And Tableau is an existing one. So These three are existing software that can be purchased and be used for business analytics. Meanwhile, I think most of us are familiar with this, which are the Google spreadsheet, okay, the Excel. So it's being widely used, effective for manipulating data and developing and solving models. It is a powerful commercial add-ons and facilitate communications of result. So these are the primary spreadsheet software. We have Excel 2016 for Windows and Mac. There's also optional softwares such as StatCrunch and Analytics Solver. So third one is the scope of business analytics. Okay. Descriptive analytics. For example, when you collect the data, you need to find out the age of the respondent. Okay, if the data is based on a human perspective, okay, so the data such as age, data such as gender, uh, data such as the occupation, the range of salary of that individual. So all of this will be collected, and descriptive data will give you an overview of the range of your respondent, meaning that when you collect data of the age of your respondent, right? So the youngest, for example, will be 18 years old, and the oldest will be 70 years old. So from that collection of age of data, you will run a very simple analysis. For example, you want to know the mid-range, okay? The mean, the median, and the mode. Okay, so this thing will be included in your descriptive table. So this table will be labeled and categorized. Okay, what is the mid age of the range, and what is the minimum, what is the maximum age, and so forth. So this will tell you in briefly of what are the data consist of. Okay. And then predictive analysis. We want to predict the future by examining historical data. Okay, I've mentioned this already. And prescriptive analytics identify the best alternative to minimize and maximize some objective. So this is like a process, right? You collect the data, and then you descriptive analytic is basically you try to describe what are the data that has been collected, and then you try to predict by doing interpolating. Okay, you try to find out is there any relationship? Is it a positive relationship? Is it a negative relationship? Is there a significant effect of the variables between each dependent and independent variables? So you try to predict what is the outcome, and then from there, then you move on to prescriptive analytics. So when you you try to prescribe, okay, what is the best option for the business to follow? Either you want to use this one, or you want to use the alternative one that is being suggested. All right. So that is how the process goes in business analytics. The data, it could be numbers or textual data that are collected through some type of measurement process. We have many kinds of data, such as categorical data, numerical data. Numerical data is numbers. Okay, categorical data, it could be in terms of male and female genders. So gender is category because you categorize them. You cannot calculate them, right? But later on, we will learn how to calculate categorical data. Okay, you can assign them number. Okay, for example, male is 1, female is 2. So later on, when you run the analysis, the software can read those data and make calculation and produce the answer. Okay, how do they do this? You have to understand the and create a mathematical formula using statistical equation. Okay, and then the second one is information. So the result of analyzing the data that is extracting meaning from the data to support evaluation and decision making. So I believe you are familiar with annual reports because you have been doing this for the past 4 semesters. Accounting audits, financial profitability analysis from financial ratios, economic trends, marketing research, operating management performance, human resource measurements, and web behavior. Okay? Big data refers to the massive amount of business data, volume from wide variety of sources, variety, much of which is available in real-time velocity and much of which is uncertain and unpredictability, veracity. Okay, so the effective use of big data has the potential to transform economies, delivering a new wave of productivity growth and consumer surplus. Using big data will become a key basis of competition for existing companies and will create new competitors who are able to attract employees that have the critical skills for a big data world. So, how do companies, corporations in today's world compete with each other? It's not by who can produce the most quantity or who has the best quality. Now is who has the most data. Okay, who has the most data and who can analyze the data and produce forecast the best. Okay, so this is what big data is all about now. It's not about I sell more or I have my product is more quality, but how did you arrive there is because of the big data just now, because you did a good analysis and you have already have a large amount of data in order for you to have a good quality or more quantity in your goods, product and services, right? In order for you to run the analysis, you have to have data, but you have to make sure that the data and also the question, for example, if you want to find out about the sales, right? Does it actually affect the growth of sale is actually affected by the festive season. So you might based on numbers, right? But if you were to ask, if your respondent were a human being, right, then you have certain types of question. So this question sometimes will not clearly relate to what you intend to find out. For example, you ask a respondent, when do you normally buy baju raya? And then, do you like baju raya from, or do you like clothing from Satay? You know Satay, right? Or do you like baju raya, the clothes from Kamda? Or do you like to buy things online? And you give them a Likert scale. Likert scale is a scale for them to choose from strongly disagree to strongly agree, and normally the middle part is normally would be the uh, neutral answer. So from this creation of questionnaire just now, you would run an reliability check and a validity check. You need to check, is the data reliable? Is your questionnaire valid to be questioned or to be responded? So this is important because we do not want, at the end of the day, when you get the findings, is not significant at all because you did not do the reliability and validity check. And from this reliability and validity check, there is a guideline for you to follow. So it has to be, for example, a 0.7 and above. Okay, once it's below the 0.7 threshold, that means the validity and the reliability is not really strong enough to support your research findings later on. So it's very important for you to actually go through this measurement first before proceeding to the actual collection of data. Normally we do a pre-test, okay? We do a pre-test first in order to find out what will be the outcome before proceeding to the real one. Okay, this is like a simulation as well. So here we have an example of data reliability and validity. A tire pressure gauge that consistently reads several pounds of pressure below the true value is not reliable, although it is valid because it does measure the tire pressure. Okay. Secondly, the number of calls to a customer service desk might be counted correctly each day, and thus it is a reliable measure, but not valid if it is used to assess customer dissatisfaction, as many calls may be simple queries. Okay, so that is reliability and validity. Another third one, a survey question that asks a customer to rate the quality of food in a restaurant may be neither reliable because different customers may have conflicting perceptions, nor valid if the intent is to measure customer satisfaction, as satisfaction generally includes other elements of service besides food. Okay, for example, if you create a questionnaire that you want to find out what is the best food in Kuching, but you go to the petrol station, okay, whereby people are going to petrol station because they want to fill up fuel in the car. So this is very contradicting, very far away from what you intend to do. So that is regarding reliability and validity. Okay? Oh, finish. It's a very short one. So far, are you okay with this explanation of chapter 1?
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So this chapter is chapter 1 this morning is recorded. So that's all for today's lecture. So you can prepare for Hari Raya already. Huh? Don't forget your attendance. Okay. Attendance for today. Let me see. Sorry.